What if history is repeating itself, and the world is just watching? While Gaza burns and children cry out beneath the rubble, one voice among European leaders finally dared to speak what many feared. This is genocide. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez didn't just raise concerns. He called out Israel and demanded the EU act now. In a world numbed by politics and silence, Sanchez's words rang like thunder in a graveyard. But will the world finally listen? Standing in front of Spain's parliament, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez delivered what may be remembered as one of the boldest speeches of the century. With clarity and conviction, he declared that what the Netanyahu government is doing in Gaza and in the West Bank is not just war, but an infamy, a tragedy so vast it will stain the pages of history. Sanchez didn't mince words. He labeled the Israeli offensive the greatest genocide this century has witnessed. And unlike many global leaders who hide behind vague diplomacy, Sanchez was clear. Israel must no longer be considered a partner of the European Union. Why? Because you cannot claim to uphold human rights while partnering with a regime that, in his words, uses hunger and war to annihilate a legitimate state. Sanchez wasn't speaking to Spain alone. His message was for Europe, for the leaders who speak of democracy and justice, but remain silent while Gaza is turned to dust. He urged the immediate suspension of the EU's association agreement with Israel, an economic and political deal that gives Israel benefits, while it violates the EU's own founding principles. He reminded the Council that what the world condemned Vladimir Putin for doing in Ukraine must not be tolerated from Netanyahu in Palestine. The hypocrisy is glaring. The lives in Gaza are not lesser lives, and Sanchez made that painfully clear. Now, the European Council of Foreign Affairs must meet again to discuss further action. But Gaza cannot wait, and Spain will not stay silent. In just the last 20 months, more than 57,500 Palestinians, men, women, and mostly children, have been killed. Over 70% of Gaza is now in ruins, hospitals destroyed, families buried alive. Gaza is not just suffering, it is being erased. And all this in the name of eliminating Hamas, which killed 1,200 Israelis and kidnapped 240 on October 7, 2023. But how many dead children justify vengeance? The world once swore, never again, but again and again, the innocent die. And leaders remain neutral, safe in their silence. Except one. Pedro Sánchez didn't just offer sympathy, he offered accountability. The Prime Minister's words weren't just political, they were moral. He spoke for the countless voices that can no longer speak, for the baby who died waiting for milk, for the mother holding her child's lifeless body. He challenged Europe's moral compass. Do we stand for justice, or do we bow to strategic alliances? Sanchez vowed that Spain will not become complicit. That neutrality in the face of genocide is not diplomacy, it is betrayal. He said it plainly. We will not allow indifference, political calculations, or false balance to make us accomplices in the greatest genocide this century has witnessed. The question remains, will Europe follow his courage, or will it bury it in silence? In a time when truth is often punished and silence rewarded, one leader stood tall. Pedro Sánchez lit a fire. Now, the world must choose, join him, or be remembered for standing by. Because history is watching. And so are we. If you believe no child should die in silence, no people should be erased for power, then share this. Speak up. Use your voice. Like, comment, and subscribe to help this truth break through the noise. Justice delayed is genocide enabled. Say it louder. Say it now.